And welcome to today's video. And in today's video, I'll be doing a 2024 election prediction between Joe Biden and Christie. Now, Christie did say that he would, or apparently there are reports that he is considering a bid for the presidency in 2024, which is a very interesting idea, because he ran in 2016 and he lost in the Republican primaries. I don't think that Christie would be an amazing candidate. But I am going to do a prediction between him and Biden. So I'm going to start by leaving all Biden's safe states. Colorado, I think, would be safe. Christie, I don't think would be very strong in rural areas. And I think that Biden would definitely be stronger with a Hispanic and Latino vote, especially against somebody like Christie. Montana, I'm actually going to give to Christie, just since it's a more moderate state. And yes, Christie is pretty far to the right, and he was pretty supportive of Trump, but I don't think that he does have the rural appeal that Trump did. So for Biden's likely states, New Mexico, Minnesota, Maine, New Hampshire, Virginia, Maine or Nebraska second, and that is it. So in the state of New Mexico, I don't see Christie doing well enough with oil workers, and I also don't see him doing well enough for the Hispanic and Latino vote. Minnesota, I don't think he's strong enough for the white working class, and I also don't think he's very strong for the suburbs. Virginia, once again, really going to be weak in these Northern Virginia suburbs, these D.C. suburbs. He's not going to get the rural turnout or the rural support that he's going to need, especially against someone like Biden. In Maine at large. I just don't see him doing well enough with white rural voters. I mean, it's a fairly inelastic state. I don't see it really swinging, but I just don't see him being able to do very well there. For his likely states, I'm going to go give him Kansas, Missouri, Indiana, South Carolina, and Alaska, and Nebraska's first. So in Nebraska's first, Christie, it's a fairly rural and suburban area. I don't think he'd be able to do well enough in the suburbs. And I think that he would do worse than Trump in the rural areas. Kansas, because likely in 2020, he's not going to have the same rural support that he's going to need. He's also not going to have the suburban support that he's going to need. Missouri, not going to have support in a lot of these big cities, and it's going to do weak in rural Missouri. Indiana, once again, he's not going to have the working class support that he's going to need, and I also don't see him doing very well in urban areas like Indianapolis. South Carolina, I don't see him doing well enough with the black vote. I think that Biden is fairly strong for the black vote, but Christie is also pretty weak. And I also don't see him having the real support. Alaska, I honestly don't. I see Biden doing better with newer voters, Native American voters that are now beginning to turn out at a higher rate. And I also don't see Christie doing amazing with oil workers, especially against someone like Biden. For Biden's lean states, I'm gonna go from Nevada, Arizona. Sorry, I just yawned. Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and that is it. So in Nevada, I honestly think this will be a higher lean. I do think it'll be a higher lean. Not exactly a 2.4, but also a 6% margin of victory. Probably something like 4.5%. Just because, Christie's going to do worse for the working class and worse in rural areas. He's also going to do worse in the suburbs. The state's suburbs are already very, very blue. But he's going to do worse in the suburbs, and he's going to do worse with Hispanic and Latino voters. Arizona, once again. He is kind of a traditional Republican, which could help him in Arizona. But I don't see him getting the Hispanic and Latino support that he needs. I could see him doing better in the suburbs, but I still don't see him doing very well. And I also don't see him doing well enough in the rural areas and getting the rural turnout that he's going to need. Georgia, once again, lower rural turnout. He's going to do worse in Atlanta and its suburbs. He's going to do pretty bad with the black vote. All across the Rust Belt, he's just too weak with the white working class. In a lot of these major cities, Milwaukee, Madison, Detroit, Philly, Pittsburgh, I just don't see him doing well enough with minorities in these cities to actually be able to win any of these states, and I do think they'll all probably be above 1% for Biden. For Christie's lean states, Iowa, Ohio, Maine second, and Texas. So in Iowa, I don't see Christie doing amazing with the white rural vote, but it has become a pretty conservative state, and I just don't see Biden being able to carry enough Obama to Trump voters I mean, there would be a lot more, but I don't see it happening. Same thing in Ohio. He's too weak at the working class, but I don't see. I think it's become too conservative at this point, and the same thing in Maine second. All very similar. Texas, I mean, obviously not necessarily geographically, but in my arguments, in Texas, Christie is gonna get less rural turnout. He's gonna do worse in the suburbs. Maybe not necessarily worse than Trump, but he's not a very good suburban candidate, and the suburbs are shifting to the left. He's gonna do worse in urban areas. And I think that in the Rio Grande Valley, like Biden didn't do amazing, but I think I see him doing better than in 2020 down there. Sorry, I'm really tired for some reason. But I do see Biden doing better. And I think that he could have potentially won if he had done better down there. I mean, like if we go look at this, like the shift from 2016 was insane. Like it shifted so hard to the right. I think that a lot of it would revert back. I don't necessarily know that it'll go back to being as strong as it was before. But I don't see Christie doing well enough in the Rio Grande Valley. And yeah, that's pretty much it. For Biden's tilt state, because Christie is not gonna have any. I'm like he will maybe. Florida. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Florida. I mean, like I'll discuss Florida in a minute. North Carolina. I do think it's tilt for Biden. I see him doing much better with the working class. I don't see Christie doing as well. I think Biden's gonna do better in Charlotte and its suburbs, and Raleigh and its suburbs. He's gonna do better in the state shifting suburbs, and Christie's gonna get less rural turnout, not enough for him to be able to win. Florida, I think this is like very narrowly favoring Christie. I think we could see Biden win here. I'm like it would not be outside of the realm of possibility to see Biden win there. But I do think that Christie would narrowly win there. Just because I mean like looking at this realistically, Christie is gonna do I mean, like, I see him doing better with older, senior voters. Other than that, I mean, like, I don't really see an upside for him. He's gonna be weak in the suburbs, and he's gonna be weak with the Hispanic and Latino vote. I mean, like, I think, there's a very good chance we see a lot of the Hispanic and Latino vote in Miami revert back to Biden in general. But against someone like Christie, I think we could see it revert very hard. I think he would do very well in Pinellas County, Seminole County, Duval County, Jefferson County, and just do better in a lot of these more suburban areas. And I think we could legitimately see Joe Biden carry the state of Florida. I think that Christie would narrowly carry it, but I do think it would be a very close state. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like below. Stay tuned for my next video tomorrow. Today's been a bit of a kind of hectic day, so I'm gonna try to get my UEP video out tomorrow. It takes a lot though, because I'm gonna have to record for like a half an hour. And I'm gonna be using two different screen recorders, so I'm gonna have to like crop it and do a lot of really weird editing stuff. So it's gonna take a long time, but I'll try. So yeah. Once again, like the video if you enjoyed it. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.